The top 10 sports games of 2010 countdown begins with a predicament similar to last year, and that is having 9 very solid titles out, making up the first 9 in the list, but then having trouble coming up with the 10th game to slide in there. And really it came down to a few different games, and all of them flawed, and some in severe ways. But eventually I settled on NBA Jam for the 360 and PS3. This is a game that really, it becomes the only arcade game, pure arcade game, in the top 10. And it's really the only arcade game that was handled well this year. There weren't many. Most of them came out late last year. So I came to NBA Jam as a fun title, as a flawed title, but it still earns some credit for that nostalgic feeling and for delivering on an arcade experience that wasn't a letdown, that upgraded while keeping a lot of what made it special years ago. So NBA Jam started out the year. There was a lot of excitement around this title when it was first announced, when EA got the rights to it. Very mainstream excitement too. It wasn't just the fans of NBA Jam. There are a lot of fans of NBA Jam who maybe aren't even necessarily gamers anymore. So there was a lot of excitement, mainstream excitement, all around. But then ever since then, EA really botched it. They mishandled the title. They mishandled the brand, and it ended up they ended up paying the price for that because sales have been poor. They started out with announcing it as Wii exclusive, even though everybody knew it was going to come to the HD consoles. That wasn't that exciting for a lot of people to hear. And then the Wii version didn't even have online play. That definitely was another hit to the image. But where it really stung was with the 360 and PS3 was being tied in with NBA Elite 11, which ended up getting canceled. There was a lot of talk early on when it was known that NBA Jam was going to be tied in with Elite as a free pack, and there's a lot of people who were going to buy the game just to get a hold of NBA Jam and then probably try to sell off the Elite side of it. Over the course of a few months, though, that completely dissipated. There was really no excitement around the whole package of Elite and NBA Jam, which was pretty stunning to see. So NBA Elite gets canceled. EA decides to branch out Jam in its own retail offering instead of downloadable, which might have been the big decision that really crushed its chances. But for $50, they did add in extra content, extra modes to try to justify the $50 price. But still, a lot of people had this perception that it was a free game. They were going to give it away for free. Of course, they were going to sell downloadable content with those modes and such. But there's still that perception out there that, they really devalued the brand by advertising it as a free pack-in. So Elite kind of crushed its chances there. EA made a bunch of bad decisions along the way, and ultimately consumers weren't accepting of the $50 price. Now, despite all this, NBA Jam is a pretty fun game. It's got a decent variety of different modes. And like I said, they really delivered on a lot of the qualities that made NBA Jam so popular back in the day. The audio is excellent. The commentary is still fun. There's still a lot of strategy involved, even in the arcade sense. The new modes are fun diversions, I'd say. They don't have much lasting power, but they're fun as a something different to do in NBA Jam. You have the remix mode, which is interesting because it's got the bunch of modes within it, which all have their ups and downs, but they're fun in their own ways for short bursts of time. Of course, online play was the big selling point, really, for NBA Jam on the HD consoles, and it's been a disappointment. There's no way around that. Some issues with freezing and wins and losses counting, and the main problem being low sales mean not many people online to play, and they didn't put in lobby rooms, which turns out to be a big problem, because with not that many people online to play, they're all spread out over different modes, searching within the matchmaking. In a lobby room, even if you just had 10 people on, in a lobby room. You could get a game in relatively easily that way. And it's just not possible right now. There's also been a lot of silence regarding a roster update, which to me is, these days, it's necessary to at least provide roster update. Otherwise, you're basically abandoning the product. We know NBA Jam is not going to get like some huge patch to improve gameplay and such, although it would be nice. You know, you don't have that expectation with an arcade game. But a roster update, I mean, it's the least they could do, and not doing a roster update, which right now I'd say it doesn't look likely to happen, really just to me says that they're abandoning the product, that they don't really care. There's no post-release support, and that's always a bad sign. It was just NBA Jam failed in a lot of ways that it kept it from meeting its potential. I had a lot of fun the first time playing it when I was at PAX. It was great in that environment. I didn't notice a lot of the problems with it, a lot of the changes they made, things like not having probably the biggest thing people have spoken out about is that it doesn't have tag mode. That's what I was going for there, where you pass to your teammate and then you control that guy. Removing tag mode really hurt. And then CPU AI as a teammate is absolutely dreadful. It's like playing 1-on-2, and that's what's killed me the most as an offline game. As an online game, it's that there's not many people to play. But there are some changes made, like the removal of tag mode. You can't push people while they're shooting a shot in midair. There's just a few small, minor changes that actually hurt the game. And then the controller configuration, they left right trigger and right bumper completely empty. No one really knows why they do that. Put turbo over on the left side, but why leave buttons empty, especially when they're naturally turbo buttons? And there's no controller, custom configuration that you can do. So there's a lot of little things that kind of add up to, this isn't exactly what we were hoping for. But NBA Jam does keep a lot of the charm that it had, and that it's still enjoyable in many ways is a testament to the job that EA did with this game. But it just doesn't meet what I think people were hoping they'd get out of it. And it was actually pretty interesting to me that I had multiple people I knew who were interested in buying the game, played it once or twice, and then said, this really, I don't need to buy this. Not that it's a bad game, but it just didn't really capture what they were looking for. And it obviously didn't have quite the replayability factor that you would hope to get out of an arcade game. But that being said, it's still the best arcade game out this year. And I've always been a big fan of arcade games. The Bigs over this generation is probably my favorite one, and then you have NBA Streets, you have the Blitzes, those type of games have always been in my top 10s. I've always had at least one of those games in. And this year it's NBA Jam, and not necessarily because it's one of my favorite games of the year. It's not, but it is a change of pace game, and within the top 10 it kind of fits as that, a game that you could play for 15 minutes and have fun with. You're not going to take it too seriously, but it's still an enjoyable time overall. There was just many ways it could have been better, and the way EA handled it over the year really botched its chances of doing well at the marketplace. So there you have it. Number 10 on the top 10 sports games of the year, NBA Jam.